Hey guys, welcome back to Della Does. Welcome back to another day, another week, wherever you're watching this. Hello. Hi. Anyway, let's get right into the video. So today, we're going to be talking about life after CSM. So after CSM, as I mentioned in the last video, if you haven't seen it, do go and watch it. I was in a really low state. I mean, graduating in the pandemic, being broke, not getting a job was not a very nice situation to be in. Like, there was too many things happening that didn't go to my plan, to how I thought life should be after I graduate from the magnificent CSM. Yeah? It did not go that way. And I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what direction to go in. I genuinely felt like in that time that I had worked so hard to be in the position that I was in, and then to finish in a pandemic, but also to finish where everyone is in lockdown, was the worst position to be in. Like, how the heck could that be happening? That just sums up why I was in a low state. If you also watch the video previous to this one, you'll understand a bit more in terms of emotionally but also mentally why I was in a low state in a bit more depth. And then, yeah, like mentioned, I couldn't find a job. I guess everyone that was graduating was in a very similar position. But I was applying for jobs every single day, to the point where I just felt like, is there any point in this? Am I actually gonna get anywhere? And mentioning again, my mind was in a very low state, so I wasn't very hopeful. I just wasn't in a very positive place about what could be or what could happen. I weren't hearing it, I weren't seeing it, I just wasn't there. There was one interview that I did, right, which sounded like the dream job. It was an amazing brand. Anyway, I applied for it. It was like one of the big brands, basically, and the application process was online, so you had to do it was this AI thing, and then you had to answer the questions. There was no one there for the first phase. Got through to that, was really chuffed, like really excited. Then got through to the second round, which is where you actually meet the people, the real life people who take you through the process. So whilst that is happening, I'm just like, I'm pinching myself because I'm thinking, this cannot be real. Like, how did I get through to the second round? To the second round. I'm actually doing this. Like, this is a big brand. Like, I can't mess this up. Prior to that, I did all my research. So I thought, I did every single research I thought I could ever do. I went on LinkedIn. I looked at all of the colleagues that are in the UK that are in the office. I did every single thing I thought I should do. The only thing that I didn't do was research the head designer. How do you not? Can we just take that in, please? Please. How do you research everything but not research the head designer of the company that you're going to be working for, potentially? Anyway, everything was going amazing until that point where they said the head designer's name, right? And I think I'll do another video on the realities of being in fashion but not knowing it all, because I feel like people pretend like they know everything when they don't, and it makes people like me, who don't know some things, feel a bit stupid. Anyway, this scenario was very dumb. This scenario was very stupid. I'm not saying it wasn't, it was. Anyway, so they said the person's name, the head designer, and you know what comes to my mind?
I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who this man is. I mean, he could be walking down the street, I wouldn't know a thing. Sorry to this man.
As soon as they said his name, I was just like, oh, sorry? I don't know. I even said, oh my gosh, I even said, sorry, I don't know who that is. And there was silence. And that's when I knew, yeah, there's no way. There's no way I'm getting that job. That job is in the bin. Like, we might as well just end the interview right here, right now. It's finished. Everything that I said that was good, that was giving me brownie points prior to that point, is gone. There's no way they're going to hire me after this. Anyway, they said, there was one guy, I think he was Italian. He had quite a strong accent. And he said to me, it would be very advised that before you go to an interview that you know who you're interviewing for and who the head designer is for the company. At that point, yeah, if I could make my laptop camera die, it would have died. Like, I couldn't do anything. The camera was straight at me and I heard who this person was that he was talking about, and I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't do shishi. I couldn't do nothing. I was just sitting there like one mug, like, and all I could do was apologise because that was so dumb. Like, that was so dumb. Sorry, I really dragged that out. Anyway, bringing it back to earth now. They said that they needed to take a bit of a break and then come back to me on what their verdict was, right? But then something that really kind of bothered me about the job. Everything was perfect apart from the fact that there were two things that I just couldn't really get my mind around. Like, I understood the situation, I understood that I'd made a mistake, but in all of it, in my reflection as we had gone away to think about what we wanted from this opportunity on both sides, the two things that I just couldn't get my mind around was the pay. Let's talk about it. Like, the salaries after graduating in design are just mad, okay? We need to have a discussion about this in the industry, okay? And then the second thing was the time. Like, if I had accepted that role, my life would have been dedicated to that company, and I just couldn't settle with that. Like, my mind and my heart was not at peace about that. And it's mad because let's say like a year prior to all of this experience of graduating in the pandemic, of all the stuff that had happened that had triggered my emotions of losing my mum and being a carer and all of that yada yada yada, I would have said hands down, yeah, what? I will give myself to this role. Are you crazy? This is what I've worked for 4 years and some. Like, all of this sweat and tears and hard work is not going to nothing. Like, I'm going to work at this big company and I'm going to do what I got to do and I'm going to work my way up. But I just couldn't imagine myself doing that after reflecting during the pandemic of how toxic that mentality was for me personally, but also how I'm not prepared to give up my life for a role. And I know that people will happily do that, and if that's you, like, kudos to you. Like, do you know, whatever suits you, whatever you feel like is best for you, do that. But for me, I just didn't feel like that was the best decision to make, because I needed to go through a lot of refiguring out. I don't even know if that's a word, but I needed to figure out what my identity was outside of design and outside of textiles and outside of fashion. And yeah, that role wouldn't have done it. Anyway, so they got back to me, right? And I remember this because they said that they would get back to me at 6 p.m. Okay. Now, they got back to me earlier than that, but it wasn't the people who interviewed me. It was the recruiter who found me on LinkedIn to offer me the role in the first place. So I picked up the phone and he speaks to me and he tells me that they really, really liked my work. I was like, okay, like, cool. They see that there's a lot for me to learn and they're excited to teach me about what I can learn and how to progress my work and my design skills and all of that stuff. Then they mentioned the obvious of me forgetting, or let's not even try and make it sound nice, me not knowing who the person who owns the brand is, who the head designer is, and that was very disappointing for them. And I was, yeah, it's just, yeah, that's embarrassing. So I fully got it. But then they proceeded to say that they really wanted me to come on board and they wanted to offer me the role basically, but they just wanted me to do some research, and when I accept the role and move forward with going into the organisation, the company, they wanted for me to present that back basically to show that I've actually done that research. I was shocked, to say the least, that they actually wanted me after all of that. Like, I feel like it's because of the way that the guy came at me. You know when you've done something wrong and you know you've done something wrong after you've done something wrong, but the person makes you feel 10 times worse because you've done something wrong? That's how he was coming for me. So I was just like, yeah, no, like, after this, there's no way you can hire me or even consider me as a candidate because, yeah, in the bin. Anyway, so that all happened. I declined the role. They were shocked that I had declined it. Because it was such a big opportunity. And many people would have swept that up. Like, and I'm sure many people did and still are. So that happened. Then after that, I had to really reconsider what direction I wanted to go in terms of my career. Like, because I had envisioned, without realising it, I had envisioned and also made my identity fashion and textiles and design. And when that was no longer looking like something that at the time that I wanted to go into, not because of fashion and design in itself, but mainly because of all the stuff that comes with it. So the low salary, the time, like the hours that is gone into design and fashion and textiles is mad. It's so mad. And I just wasn't with it. I wasn't ready to commit my life to a career in that way at that time. So I really had to ask myself, okay, where do we go from here? Because I don't want to do that, but my heart is still in fashion and textiles. As I'm in this process of trying to figure out what my life is saying, I've got the tax man at my door who's asking me to, hurry up because taxes need to be paid. When you are in university, you don't pay taxes, right? When you come out of university, life is really lifing. Like, it's real. It's real things. And I feel like not enough people talk about that either. Like, there isn't this conversation about the realities of going broke after uni. Like, if you don't have something planned or in the pipeline. Like, yeah, that's something that we need to talk about. The realities of that was I needed to get a job. I needed to get a job, baby, okay? And it was not in design. I tried, but it just never worked out. And then I felt like, okay, I need to part with this thing because it's definitely not working out for me right now, and it's not what I imagined it design like in my mind. It's not adding up. So the government did this thing where they pair you with different organizations in different fields. So they ask you, okay, so what is it that you want to get into, or what is something close to what you want to get into, and then they will send you jobs. But the government is paying these organizations to take you on. So the salary that you would receive is not coming from their pocket, it's coming from the government. And it sounds like a great scheme, but the way in which it was executed was just very poor. Anyway, we'll go into that later. I went on this thing, and one of the things that, in terms of the job that I ended up getting, one of the things that I really wanted to do was work for my local community, in a way where I'm giving back. So when I was in uni, Citizens Advice was my best friend. There was a lot of times where we were speaking to each other. I needed advice, okay, because life was really lifing. And they helped me a lot. So I always said in my mind and in my heart that I would want to give back in a way. If there's any way that I could work with them, I would love to. Going back and forth with the organisers of this thing, with Kickstart, and trying to get it all sorted, a job came up with Citizens Advice. And I said, that's something that I'd want to do. Long story short, with that, I got the job. And what I was basically doing was their comms. So I was creating posters for them, graphics, designing things for them. Anyway, I progressed from there into a role where I was helping people with universal credit. If you don't know about universal credit, then y'all are on a different tax bracket. And that was interesting, but then I realized, okay, like, this is not really for me. In terms of what I feel like I'm meant to go in. There was so much, it became very corporate very quickly. There was a lot of research, there was a lot of training, like learning. I learned so much, but that's one of the things that I definitely would take from this whole experience, is coming out of my bubble of comfortability and learning things outside of what I was used to. That really helped me with my skills and my progression, but also with my understanding of the world and just wider understanding of how the systems are created, how they function, and all of that stuff. So whilst all of that was happening with Citizens Advice, with the Kickstart scheme, so the Kickstart scheme runs alongside you being in a role. So whilst you're doing your role, you're also meeting with somebody that you're assigned to within the Kickstart scheme, just to see your progression, to see how things are going, and to see where you will move on to next. So whilst that was happening, I was talking to the person that I was assigned, and I was just being very blunt with them because I had nothing to lose. Like, I just saw it as an opportunity, but also thought that I could just completely throw myself into this. Like, I don't have anything else. We're in lockdown. Like, the world is probably going to end. I'm joking. It wasn't going to end. But yeah, I just had nothing to lose. Anyway, so I was just very honest, and I said to her, like, I see so much potential in the Kickstart scheme, but I believe that it's not functioning in a way that it should be, to its highest potential. And I am willing to volunteer my time to make it better. Who told me? Who told me to do that? As soon as that came out my mouth, I was just thinking, wait a second, what did I just say? It was already too late. She already took my offer. And she started asking me questions, asking me to meet with her manager to look at ways that they can improve the program for my local area. So we did. Things changed very quickly within that. Like, I then started doing peer mentor, like, groups with the different people in my local area that were on the scheme, talking to them about how they feel about the scheme, how to improve it, what their experiences are, but also how to get the best out of it, so we could all kind of like share with each other. And then it progressed on to me giving a class about, I don't even remember what it was about, can't even lie. But I was basically sharing a class to the people who were running the Kickstart scheme. Yeah, so the tables turned really quickly. And the reason why I believe that all was God was because all of that came together and helped me get the role that I'm in now, which is crazy. Like, so mad. But anyway, I feel like this video has really kind of dragged on. So I am going to do a part 2, and then you guys can follow on to the story in the next section.